Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. MAGA Republicans, extremism. MAGA Republicans, extremism. Donald Trump is not normal. MAGA Republicans, extremism. Donald Trump is not normal. Extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. MAGA Republicans, extremism. Donald Trump, extremism. Donald Trump is not normal. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Torrential Tuesday. Good God, I could just sit up here and say, you know what, I'm done with you. Really? That's it? That's how that shit works? Not really, folks. Not really. You don't just say, I'm done with you, but hell, that's what the bureaucracy in DC does. That's what the elected scumbags in DC say. Get this, folks. Dr. Anthony Fauci. That's right. The little rat that said, I had nothing to do with school closures. That guy. I don't think he has said one thing or done one thing in the last 2 years, or maybe 5 years, or maybe 10, maybe 20, maybe 25 years. I don't think he said one thing that has been beneficial for any of us. The last thing I know of that he said that was beneficial was when he came out and he said, what did he say? The little rat. I think it was this. Uno momento, por favor.
With COVID, I mean, the things that we thought we knew in the beginning turned out as the months went by to not be the case, which really forced us to adapt and to change some of our policies and recommendations. That was interpreted by many as flip-flopping or not really knowing what's going on, when it really was the evolution of the science.
Fuck you, Dr. Fauci.
The best vaccination is to get infected yourself. If she really has the flu, she definitely doesn't need a flu vaccine. If she really has the flu,
she should not get it again.
No, she doesn't need it because it's the most potent vaccination is getting infected yourself.
Fuck you, Dr. Fauci.
That would be the last time he said anything, I think, that's beneficial is, hey, the best vaccination, the best immunity is when you give it to yourself because of your own immune system. Here we are. Lo and behold. These people suck, folks. They are dangerous. Fauci came out today. This is apparently his last public appearance. But he wanted to talk about Thanksgiving. And I think Ooman has a new name for Thanksgiving. Maybe he'll share that with us later in the show. Get your comments down below because I'm going to do my 30-minute monologue followed by your Q&A. So Fauci says, quote, when we're gathering at a family gathering, he said gathering twice. 5 words and 2 of them were gathering. Sounds like some sort of psyop, psychological word here. When we're gathering at a family gathering for Thanksgiving or for Christmas or for any other holiday as we get into the winter, it makes sense that you might want to get a test that day before you come into a place, right? And he said, Dr. Fauci did, that he will fully cooperate with lawmakers and testify before Congress. And he had this to say, anticipating getting his little ass put in a ringer. And I do not think that even a Republican Congress is going to do much more than grill him. Maybe, they won't put him over hot coals, folks. They won't put the thumb screws on him. They won't put his head in a vice. They won't smash his hand with a hammer until he tells the truth. He said, if there are oversight hearings, I absolutely will fully. Let me back up on this guy. I can't get over this. If there are oversight hearings, there's going to be oversight hearings. That is what the Republicans are there to do in Congress, is to give us some oversight hearings, make us go, yeah, kick his ass, and then nothing happens. And I don't mean to be negative Nelly. I don't mean to be Debbie Downer. But we've seen enough of this shit for the past 30 years. Republicans just fucking selling us out. We got some ass kickers in there, but they're outnumbered, and they don't have a massive majority, so they can just stomp the shit out of the rhinos. I don't mean to be Mr. Black Pill, Debbie Downer, but, anyways, back to what was said. So we can anticipate what's coming. So we can incorporate it into the SHTF flow of crap that is going to ooze all over all of us. Get ready. Get set. Here it comes. Fauci. If there are oversight hearings, I absolutely will cooperate fully and testify before Congress. We can defend and explain and stand by everything that we've said. I have nothing to hide. Really? Really? He has nothing to hide? He has nothing to hide. He has nothing to hide.
Was it a mistake in so many states and so many localities to see schools closed as long as they were?
Well, I don't want to use the word mistake.
Well, did we pay too high a price?
There will be deleterious collateral consequences. If you go back, and I ask anybody to go back over the number of times that I've said we've got to do everything we can to keep the schools open, no one plays that clip. They always come back and say Fauci was responsible for closing schools. I had nothing to do. The schools should be closed. I had nothing to do. The schools should be closed. I had nothing to do. The schools should be closed.
Yes, that's right. If this was going to be his last day sucking up to the Obama-Biden administration, then so be it, right? I'm going to give him hell today. Folks, after he came up with his little bullshit that I just read a few minutes ago, Karine Jean-Pierre stepped back up to the microphone, and she refused to call on reporters. They wanted to ask Fauci about the origins of COVID. And this is what she shouted. She kind of bitch slapped the guy down. I'm done. I'm done with you. Does that sound like somebody who has nothing to hide? Does that sound like somebody who is going to absolutely, fully cooperate and testify? Does that sound like someone who can defend and explain everything or stand by everything that they've said and done? Sounds to me like they got a whole lot to hide, folks. They think they own us. They think they can tell us what to do. They think they're the sovereigns. Folks, they're not. They're not. We are. Oh, we've got a lot of trouble, folks. We've got all kinds of trouble. It is the day before Wednesday, and Wednesday's the day before Thanksgiving. Most of you, or many of you, probably will be traveling, or people will be traveling to you. And I hope you have a very wonderful Thanksgiving, where we give thanks for getting loose, getting free, getting away from European overlords, bastards, kings, and tyrants. That's right, folks. Thanksgiving was started by the Pilgrims, as tradition and myth and history would have it. Right? Guys with funny hats and women with funny dresses met up with some Indians with some funny clothes too. Everyone had funny clothes back then. And they all got together and had a dinner. Isn't that freaking marvelous? Everyone should celebrate Thanksgiving, regardless of race or heritage or skin color. We could call that an inclusive meal. The first Thanksgiving was very inclusive. Yes. And we don't know if any of the natives were gay or any of the pilgrims were gay. So let's just assume that they were fully acceptant of everything amongst them. Yeah, let's go with that. You know, are we going to assume for them their gender identity? Maybe the Pilgrims had 10 different genders and don't know it. Maybe the 20 and they were more inclusive and evolved. Wow. Unbelievable. Look what those bastard Democrats did in the 1800s and early 1900s with their KKK and all of their cross burnings on people's lawns and all of their lynchings of people they didn't like. That's right. Those were the people who were doing the lynchings, folks, the Democrats. Those are the ones who were racist, the Democrats. Yeah, I'm picking on the Democrats. I'm picking on Dr. Fauci. I'm picking on bureaucrats. And now I'm going to pick on some more people. Are you ready for this Torrential Tuesday downpour of trash talking against everyone in power? Well, one of my favorite congressmen, Representative Matt Gaetz, Republican out of the great state of Florida, down there, Florida, the only state that really doesn't have a winner. Well, maybe Hawaii doesn't either. Okay, let's move on. Representative Matt Gaetz says this. It's a quote. He says, on the first day of Republican control, we should take over the J6 committee and release every second of footage that will exonerate our patriots. That is fabulous. Now, Matt, along with Representative Big Marge, and I think a couple others, I can't remember the names because they just don't make enough appearances publicly and get on the news. They don't get on the news and make enough appearances and show us that they really give a shit about the January 6th people who have been in prison languishing almost 2 years. Right? Now, I'm glad Matt Gaetz is going to take over the J6 committee, and they should. As soon as they have leadership and position, authority, they need to remove everyone out of that committee. Seat new committee members and a new committee chairman or chairwoman. The word man is in both, so I'm just going to stick with chairmen and congressmen and senatemen. They should take it over. They should release every second of the 14,000, is it minutes or hours of footage that they have from every single fucking camera on Capitol Hill. That shows all of the cops letting people in, that shows all of the peaceful walking around, that shows on the outside of the building all of the policemen beating the ever-loving shit out of patriots, gassing the ever-loving shit out of patriots, shooting with rubber bullets with everlasting shit at the patriots. The footage showing FBI, Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police, agents provocateur. The footage that shows Antifa black-clad scumbag being given special privilege and entrance, not being assaulted, being allowed to pretend that they're engaged in fighting the cops. Well, I saw this footage, folks, and it was never again shown. Inside, a bunch of black-clad jackasses acting all tough and acting all wild and crazy, trying to make it look like they were going to get in a fight with the cops. Where's the camera footage of them all taking positions, making sure they're standing on their marks? I've had it with these fucking people. They're a bunch of liars. Okay, Matt, get that footage and release it. If Nancy Pants and her scum and minions don't erase it first, stand by for that. But I want to say this to Representative Matt Gaetz and Big Marge and the other 200 plus Republicans on Capitol Hill and all the Republicans in Senate, all 48, 49 of them, as well as all of their staffers, as well as all of the bureaucrats that are Republican. Where the fuck have you been for 2 years? I know the media doesn't want to give them camera time. I know. They should have done more. People have been languishing in jail as their constitutional rights. Folks, if their rights can be just toasted, yours can too. If they can be held without trial, without charges, without evidence, without signed affidavits, if they can be held for all of that indefinitely, so can you. So can I. I'm sick of this. Well, we couldn't do anything. We didn't have any power. The fuck you don't have power, right? Yeah, I know the media is not on their side. I get it. But where the fuck have they been for 2 years? They're waiting for now. And the most we'll get is camera footage. How about some fucking arrests? How about Matt Gaetz calls them in and gets them to testify and then gets them in a fucking Perry Mason moment so they perjure themselves and have them arrested on the spot. Next perjury arrest. Next perjury arrest. Next perjury. That would be something. That would be something. I would love to see something. Have we seen that yet? No. Have they promised it? Fuck yeah, they've been promising that. They've been promising arresting the bad guys over there, right? Since the Iran-Contra hearings with Ollie North and his asshole lawyer Poindexter way back in the 1980s. Hey, folks, that was over some Republicans doing some shit trying to be patriotic. Still, you did something wrong, arrest them, damn it. Give me some fucking arrests. How about arresting these fucking communists? How about arresting people who knowingly violate the constitutional rights of us? If you can go to jail for 20 plus years for arresting someone and violating their rights, St. George Floyd, whether or not someone died, if you violate their rights, you go to jail. Okay, Congressman, line the fuck up. We're going to put you in jail for violating our rights. Yeah, I'm on a horse. I'm on a rant, right? I'm on a rant. Matt Gaetz, fucking arrest somebody. All right. Seriously. If you can be arrested for being in Congress and parading or trespassing, call these fuckers into Congress. Tell them to stand here. Stand right here. And then tell them to stand over here. And so they walk the fuck over, and then you arrest them and say, you're trespassing. But you told me to come here. No, you're fucking trespassing. If all you have to do is claim someone's trespassing and you can arrest them, hold them in jail for 2 fucking years, torture them, deny them food, deny them medical treatment, deny them psychological treatment, deny them legal representation, deny. Let's give them some of their own fucking medicine. Seriously, folks. And don't kid yourself, folks. Around the world and in our beautiful country, the US of A, there's corruption at all levels, from local to state and even Washington, D.C. Surprise, surprise. No. Now, in Brazil, folks, according to an article today, the military is just waiting for Bolsonaro, the president, to give the order to arrest a corrupt communist judge. Don't kid yourself, folks. They're no worse than we are up here. No worse, right? The truckers down in Brazil, they're blockading roads and ports, right? A judge, a federal judge down there has to step down. Folks, Brazil is screwed over. They're not putting up with this shit, right? The president of the Liberal Party is reportedly submitting evidence of fraud before the Supreme Court today. Protesters hope to overturn the Nintendo game results in Brazil. The people know it's a sham game, right? Where's the American media on what's going on down there? It's nowhere to be seen. It's being hidden. It's being hidden. There's a strong, let's see, we got some reports coming out of there. Again, folks, where do we go for news? Well, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that 2 missiles crashed into Poland, and that means World War III, and we need to use Article 5 to go and what? Yeah, we need to Article 5 and bring NATO down to Brazil. I'm not doing that type of shit. You know, they're the ones trying to start World War fucking III. I'm just trying to get our rights back. And I'd love to report on this. So we have strong satirical allegations out of Brazil that there's a lot of information and strong movement in the army barracks, that a very strong outcome in the nation and unpredictable in a matter of hours or days at most, a week, 2, maybe less. Sounds like bullshit to me. They're very excited down there, though. Whether it's hours and days or a week or weeks, something can give, right? apparently, see, I'm not even going to report this shit because it's all fucking hearsay and bullshit. It really is. There's a lot of stuff going on down there. There's stuff going on up here. Are you ready? Right? I would love to see, it'd be nice to see an actual arrest of some of these scum. Right? No matter what language they speak, whether it's in Brazil or the USA, folks, eyes open. Right? Let's see if something happens. Right? Something in Brazil. Are we going to see something happen in Arizona? Are we going to see something happen in Washington, D.C.? Just unfucking believable. It is Thanksgiving, by the way. The very first celebrated, inclusive, racially inclusive. And what was it? Everyone sitting down together. What do we want to call that? It was inclusive. It was racially inclusive. It was gender inclusive. That's right. Kids, men, women. They all sat down together. Wow. Talk about evolution. Back then, they were really ahead of their game. So why are all these leftists, why do they hate Thanksgiving? Unbelievable. And I have a point of order here. We keep being told that if you're white, you're a racist. And that if you're of European descent, then you are a slave trader. You're a bad person. Right? That's what they say. I got a point of order here, folks. 9 people in Gwinnett County, Georgia, are being charged with human trafficking. 9, folks. These guys are trafficking people. Trafficking is engaging in slavery. Right, slavery. When you kidnap someone and you're moving them from one place to another for the purpose of using them to sell them for sex, prostitution, or for some other domestic service, or I guess maybe to feed them to these vampires, right? That's slavery. No race is exempt from evil. And by the way, these 9 guys in Georgia are all black. Now, am I condemning all black people? Not a fucking chance. I just want to point out the hypocrisy of all these left-wing idiots. We keep getting told that it's the white people that are bad, yet we keep seeing evil coming from all directions. Evil is not about a race. It's not about a gender. Evil is not about an age. It's not about a color. It's about evil. We need to accept, folks, that evil exists. I tell you, speaking of evil, I'm going to roll down this fucking road with you guys. Get your questions in down below. I want to finish off this Torrential Tuesday with some of your thoughts. Get this. In the FTX, that is the crypto coin scandal where they sent money over to Ukraine, laundered it, had them buy back crypto and send it back to American politicians, both Democrats and Republicans. That's right. The judge has ruled, folks, that the people, the creditors' names, people involved financially with this FTX, we need to keep their names hidden secret. They need to be redacted, right? Hear, see, show the people no evil. What happened to public trials being made available to the public? Both the crime, the witnesses, the evidence, and the participants in the crime. What happened to that? What happened to that? We're getting nothing but stupid, folks. Speaking of mission stupid-possible, right? The COVID czar. That's right. Biden's COVID czar. Folks, czar means Caesar. Czar and Caesar are another word for king. If you follow the etymology, the word, it's kings. These people think they're fucking kings. Czars and Caesars and kings don't answer to their people. Not when they think like this, they rule us. So the czar says to the people, God gave you 2 arms to get your cerveza bug and flu shot. That's right. To get your Jim Jones juice and flu shot. That's why you have two arms, one for each arm. Folks, one arm goes numb, the other one fucking falls off. They're continuing to push that trash. I tell you, folks, the violence coming from the left is nuts. Now, I wrote something for the newsletter, this week's Tuesday newsletter that goes out to the preparedmind.club members. And you don't even have to be a member. You don't have to be a premium member. Go to the preparedmind.club, C-L-U-B. You can sign up there for the weekly newsletter. We do 2 newsletters a week. You get some articles, some additional insights and thoughts. You get whatever we've got going on sale, like we've got the Black Friday Olight special this week, right? Prepper items and stuff. Anyways, you can sign up there for free and get this information for free. But I'm going to just give you the headline, and I'll let you know I'm talking about it a little later, right? Adam Kitzinger, loser rhino Republican out of Illinois. That's right, Republican Illinois, probably a fucking rhino. He threatened violence, folks. Well, surprise, surprise, surprise. Against none other than a cartoon character. That's how tough this pile of shit is. He's threatening a cartoon character. One of my favorites. It is a cat named Cat Turd. A Twitter user named Cat Turd. He lost his shit over the cat who uses cynicism and smart assitude. Right? He's cynical. He's satirical. Cat Turd. Right? He posted a cartoon on the war in Ukraine adding, it's dumb that I'm laughing way too hard at this. Right? I didn't want to look at the picture until I got to the news story so I could give you a genuine reaction. It's someone laying on their back and crying, and there's a yellow puddle and a blue puddle underneath them. You know, the colors of Ukraine. The blue color is the tears streaming out of the face and building a tear puddle under the person. The yellow, as you may have guessed, is them pissing their pants and making a yellow puddle they're laying in. And Cat Turd says, it's dumb that I'm laughing way too hard at this. I got you. I got you. You know, Cat Turd is actually a human being. Actually a human being, right? But they just use the Cat Turd, kind of like there's also Doomberg, the talking chicken, who does interviews on YouTube and newsletters, speaking of financial issues and other infrastructure issues. So Adam Kitzinger says this, literal evil. If I met you in person, it would not end well for you. Sicko. Trolls who have never done a thing in their life pretend to be patriots and laugh at real warriors. Really? Really, you pile of shit, Kitzinger. I could call him Klitzinger or Cuntsinger. I could call him all kinds of dirty names. He deserves nothing less, folks, than our scorn. Real warriors. Real warriors. Barack Hussein Obama, that's his real name. He used to go by Barry Soetoro, who was president of the United States for 8 years, and under Joe Biden is still serving as president of the United States the last 2. That piece of shit used the Internal Revenue Service to go after our patriots in America. Not in Ukraine, not in Russia, not in Taiwan, not in China, in America. The Tea Party and other patriotic groups, including, you guessed it, veterans, folks. Veterans of the American services, armed services, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, National Guard. And he declared, these pussies in D.C., they declared our veterans to be domestic terror threats. Now they call parents domestic terrorists. That's right. We're domestic terrorists. We're domestic terror threats. Adam Kitzinger. And he wants to say that you're a sicko and you're a troll and you've never done anything in life, right, for laughing at these Ukraine warriors. Really? Ukraine warriors, huh? So Cat Turd responds. Sitting congressman threatens violence against a U.S. citizen over laughing at a meme they found funny. I can't stop laughing at this infant. That was a great response to Adam Klitzinger. You can call him Clit Snipper. He wants to talk about us being sickos. Probably Adam Kitzinger, loser congressman. Yeah, he's gone, folks. Loser congressman. Probably got Cat Turd more attention than he deserved for this. And I hope more people learn who the smartass, cynical, satirical Cat Turd is. I think Adam Kitzinger probably needs to be looking for a job. But I'm going to give you this. He wants to call, folks. He wants to call Republicans and patriots sickos. That piece of shit. Well, there's a left-wing, elitist, high-end retail clothing manufacturer that is now being scrutinized and criticized because they have a new ad campaign. Basically, it's a creepy child bondage commercial. Oh, but we're the sickos for laughing at a bunch of idiots who were used by their complete moronic loser of a president who was installed by the CIA. Fact. Someone fact check me, please. If you don't like my facts and you want to substitute your own, you're welcome to it. So the high-end fashion brand is Balenciaga. I can't even pronounce it because I've never heard of these people. But they got backlash, folks. One photo. There's a girl with red hair wearing one of their T-shirts, and she holds the strap of a white bear that is wearing a vest with a padlocked choker. Yeah, a little bit bondage-like, right? In fact, I'm looking at both pictures of just two little girls with their teddy bears that are wearing leather bondage gear. These are some sick fuckers. They're not sickos, they're sick fuckers. And they want to say we're sickos. There's a problem with us. There's a problem with them, folks. Now, I went past my 30-minute mark. All right. I went past my 30. I got more stuff here, folks. But we're just going to go with some of your stuff. I might get on a tear and just tear off and start talking about some more of my shit. But let's do this. Let's get to the Q&A.
Are you ready?
All righty. Boy, I tell you what, I enjoy every day coming here because I get to share some insights, some thoughts. I get to get your emails, messages, texts, and then incorporate them into what I want to say. Then I go right to you guys directly. If you're at thepreparedmind.club or subscribestar.com, you can be here live Monday through Friday, $2 a month, 7 cents a day. Sign up, support this channel, the message, support free speech, support kicking everyone in the ass who needs a good ass kicking, and help wake up your fellow Americans and countrymen and get them prepared, because it ain't going to be pretty. Let's do this. Let's get into your questions. Who wants to step up first? Jolene, what do we got? We got Mikey and Red Arrow Tinker. Is it a pothole or speed bump you go over every morning? It's like clockwork. You're talking about pretty close to the end of every video. Right, pretty close to the end of every video. There's one intersection, and it doesn't matter which lane I go through. There's there's a dip. So I know what you're talking about. It is not a speed bump. It's not a pothole. I think it's where cross traffic has heavy equipment go through, and it's pounded a trough. And I just hit that every day at about, 40 to 45 miles an hour. Thank you for noticing. And you guys have always noticed when I do transportation transformative, but not tranny, right? Discussions. Whenever I do videos, people are like, hey, I know where that place is. I've seen that. I wonder what that's about. What's that car next to you? Someone's following you. Anyways, let us move on. Yes, it is Uman. And he says he heard a commercial while driving around today. Instead of saying Happy Thanksgiving, they said, enjoy the gastronomic holiday. Enjoy the gastronomic holiday. See, Happy Thanksgiving is about giving thanks for making it through the year, giving thanks for family, thanks for friends, thanks for, well, inclusiveness, because the white folks included the brown folks, and the brown folk, or the Native Americans are, I mean, the statement that they, is the red man, right? In fact, there's chewing tobacco called red man. Is it still red? Am I wrong on this? Has someone said that that's insensitive or an insult? Or do people take pride in what they are? Kind of like, I don't know, in Cleveland, they have the baseball team, the Cleveland Indians, and Atlanta has the Cleveland, or it's the Atlanta Braves, and Kansas City has the Chiefs, and Washington, D.C.'s football team is the Washington, D.C. football team, because they can't be the Redskins anymore. There it is, folks, Redskins. They have a these fucking people. Anyways, let's put Uman's statement up there because I think it's worth leaving up just a few more seconds. Enjoy the gastronomic holiday. How about Happy Thanksgiving? Right? Really, folks, they don't want to talk about how inclusive it is. Well, no, we can't have that. We can't have the generosity of Native Americans towards white folk. We can't have generosity of white folk sharing with the Native Americans. Sitting down together, cooperating, eating, enjoying one's company, learning from each other, yada, yada, yada. We can't have that. We're supposed to always be at war, right? White man is so evil. Bunch of crap. Anyways, what did I say earlier about the gastronomic holiday? I mean, I can't even remember. Oh, man, there's just been so much going on today. All right. Thank you so much for that, man. Always enjoy the stupidity of the left. I don't really enjoy it, but it does demonstrate how fucking stupid they are. Really, really, folks. Really stupid. I mean, the left. In Rhode Island, there's a school official, folks. One of these fruitcakes. Well, I think they've been through a recall already, but imagine having a school official that says, misgendering trans children is an act of violence and, quote, needs to be dealt with accordingly. How do you deal with violence, folks? Well, there's two ways. Well, there's several ways. If someone is acting violent towards you, you run away. Right? You're told not to stand your ground. You're told not to defend your castle. You're told you should run away from the violence of being assaulted, robbed, attempted rape, theft. You should just give up the property and run away. Run, run. Don't fight back. Right? That's the answer the left gives us when we're told, well, you feel like you're being threatened. You should run away. Never stand your ground. Never deal with violence accordingly. Well, I guess if you're a leftist turd talking to other leftist turds, you say, hey, misgendering children, act of violence. Needs to be dealt with accordingly. Folks, this is how fruitcakes think. Listen to this. Look at this definition from this ding-dong of a school official. Violence is defined by the World Health Organization as the intentional use of physical force or power, threatened or actual, against oneself, another person, or against a group or community that either results in or has a high likelihood of resulting in injury, death, psychological harm, maldevelopment, or deprivation. Kids should act in self-defense if they feel violence has been used on them. Really, folks. I feel like everything the leftists say is violent, don't you? But I mean, let's look at this. Let's see. Deprivation. So if somebody using physical force or power, threatened or actual, against a group or a community that results in injury, death, psychological harm, or deprivation or maldevelopment, that's violence. So could it be that banks that are depriving us of our banking rights, our ability to do business, personal and private, business and individual, that sounds like deprivation to me. That's violence by banks. Psychological harm, when they tell us we're bad, we're evil, we're white supremacists, we're slave owners, we're crackers, we're evil, we're Nazis. That sounds like psychological harm by calling us something that we are not and we don't identify as, and we don't accept blame or credit for. And they're doing it intentionally, folks, depriving us and calling the community and group of us who do not want to get the Jim Jones juice or the juice boosters. They're using their power, physical force, physical power, threatened and actual. It results in psychological harm, maldevelopment. That's right. We can't develop our businesses or our personal lives if we can't bank or shop or travel or recreate, use parks, beaches, lakes, because we have not gotten their experimental DNA scrambling bullshit of a drug jabbed in us. I feel like everything the leftists say is now violent. Should we act in self-defense every time we hear them speak? Because their words, folks, are violence. And refusing to say anything to them is an act of violence, because silence is violence. That's right, folks. Let's start using their words on them. I have to be noisy, because if I'm silent, that's an act of violence. So I have to be speaking out. But speaking out is wrong because it's misinformation, according to these fucksticks. Right? You can't win. Everything they say is a lie, sugar-coated with bullshit and lark's vomit. Everything, folks, is cockroach clusters with these fuckheads. And that's what they are. Everything they say is good. Everything we say is violent. Everything we do is wrong. Everything they do is correct. Fuck the left, the socialist, communist scumbags, all the way up to the very top, the World Economic Forum, because they want you. The left wants you to kiss their ass. I don't think so. All right, Jolene, who do we have up next? We have Heidi. Another reason that Heidi's name cracks me up. Not that it's a bad name, it's a great name. But growing up as a kid, I was a Raider fan, Oakland Raiders. And they had a game where the game was preempted. It ended. It went too long. And the story about Heidi popped up on the TV. And while the network was showing Heidi, the Raiders came back and won the game. They scored like 2 or 3 touchdowns. I can't remember anymore. Shit, that was so long ago, 1970s. I think they scored 3 touchdowns in like 2 minutes. Came back and won the game. It's known as the Heidi game. Anyways, Heidi says, I've always been under the impression that contesting elections and asking for a recount are legal. How the heck is that an insurrection? Well, if we're talking about January 6th, Heidi, what they're saying is the use of violence and threats and appearing in a mob. Well, that represents an insurrection. Okay, so let's see. Showing up en masse, threatening violence, throwing up en masse, protesting, and then threats of violence and actual violence. They're saying that's insurrection. Yeah, it's wrong. It's not really. That doesn't meet the threshold of insurrection. You can't use 50 or even 500 people to take over the nation of the United States. Right? There's an entire government, federal government. There is the entire bureaucracy. There's the military. There's control. And then every state has its own independent controls from the governor down. So you can't commit an act of insurrection in the United States, take control of the government, and then expect everyone just to obey you. But if you control the elections, if you win the elections, Then you assume control of the elected apparatus and its bureaucracy, and then the extended bureaucracies that fall under either the legislative or the judicial or the executive branches. But thank God for the Constitution to limit those fuckers. Folks, I have no respect for these people. Not anymore. Zero respect. Yes, contesting elections is one of the instruments or tools in the democratic process that help constitute a republic, a republican form of government. So you have a republic, and democracy helps the republic. It's not the other way around where we have a democracy and that's the ultimate power and thought and philosophy. No, these people are idiots. They're absolute idiots. Democracies don't last at all. Republics have lasted centuries. But when an empire fails, it fails because of corruption. Democracies fail because they are mob rule. All right, let us move on if we can. Thank you, Heidi. And now we've got Oregon Patriot checks in. He says, after going silent, I see the rail strike is in the news again. I can't help but wonder if there wasn't a pre-election conversation between Obama, using his puppet Biden, and the union where he said, I'll have more flexibility after the election. Oh, that's right. Back during Obama's first term, just prior to the election, he had a meeting with then Russian leader Medvedev because Putin kind of stepped down. Medvedev stepped up. Putin was still there. Medvedev, by the way, folks, is still there. And he leaned over and quietly said to Medvedev with a hot mic, I'll have more flexibility after the election. Well, here we are. The election, the midterm election has gone by. Joe Biden has more flexibility. He gets through the election and what? He fucking fails. He drops the ball. He fumbles. And it looks like we could have a rail strike again with the unions. And lo and behold, folks, this will not affect what Joe Biden has for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. What is going on will not affect Joe Biden's retirement or his wife's retirement or Hunter Biden's sex life, drug life, sex trafficking, money laundering, backroom deals, bribery, extortion, payoffs. Won't affect any of the way they do, but it could affect us, me, you, us, the American people. A rail strike could affect things for like inflation, the cost of food, the cost of electricity, the cost of fuel, the cost of goods, the cost of other services, because everyone else has to pay a higher cost. Are you prepared for it to get really, really nasty? Wow. Every single day, folks, I wake up, I feel recharged, and then it's like we get kicked square in the gonads. Yes. Square in the gonads. All right, let's see what else we got. I know we've got a lot of questions today. I don't want to take too much time discussing my stuff because you guys have a lot to say. And we got Sally Sue, and this is what she has to say. While I've seen higher prices on most of my groceries, I still haven't seen any food shortages. With what you've learned, are food shortages an actual threat to us here in America? We've all heard about the food shortages. We've had insiders come and say, hey, look, we've got 90 days of food left. We got 45 days of food left. That was over 90 days ago and 45 days ago. So what happened? Where's these shortages? Well, we know that the war started with Russia last spring, approximately 6 months ago. So all the crops that were planted this year were planted when we had high stockpiles of fertilizer, which makes more food, more animal feed, more livestock food, lots of it. All the food that was created the year before, see, we're in 2022, so all the food in 2021 was grown with high stockpiles of fertilizer, lots of food out there, processed, frozen, put in freezers, refrigerators, held for us to eat in 2022. But in 2022, we started having problems. So some farmers may be fine. Other farmers said, hey, this is fucked up. We can't afford the fertilizer. So the food produced in 2022 is lower. Could it be significantly lower or just a little lower? We don't know for sure, but we've heard a lot of threats, a lot of fear mongering. We've heard a lot of glad handing. And hey, don't you worry about it. We got lots of bugs for you to eat. Don't worry. We got lots of fake meat all stored in government basement, right? But I expect there to be, if any, food shortages that will really become problematic in 2023 and beyond. Not just for America, but for the world. I really do. I expect it. They want it to happen. They want it to happen. The World Economic Forum, they want you to eat the bugs. They want you to have nothing and like it. They want you to pay 2, 3, 10 times as much for your electricity. Folks, in Europe, they've got it worse off than we do here in America. Americans have always had a higher standard of living than the average European. I mean, let's face it, the poor in America have cell phones. I see poor people, folks, driving Mercedes, Lincolns, Cadillacs. I'm like, how the fuck did they get that? I just saw them using an EBT card or food stamps in the store, and they go out and get in a fucking Escalade. What the hell? I can't afford an Escalade. How can that literal welfare case? Because even the poor here get free this, free that, all kinds of shit handed out. They have an opportunity because of the wealth, but that wealth, folks, is now going to start coming down, in my opinion, because we're going into economic recession, which means less of, more expensive to get. And it has a trickle-down effect. And shit is now trickling down. I have people in the real estate world. That's a great indicator because it's such a huge percentage of the market that are telling me shit's looking bad and it's starting to hurt real bad. Combine that with the food shortages that are potentially coming in 2023 because of the lack of fertilizer being supplied in 2022, because the World Economic Forum, NATO, and United States of America, along with allies like Great Britain, the government of Great Britain, they all wanted to start a war with Russia because they want to secure Ukraine. Well, Russia has done one hell of a trick there, haven't they? And on top of doing that, they've also deprived the world of their natural resources, energy, fertilizer, and many other items in addition to that. Food production. The world is going to be in trouble, folks. We're not seeing it as bad as I thought we could in America, but hell, I'll take that as a positive, and people have a chance to prep up. But when that party ends, folks, and it's ended for us in some way, to see food going up 10, 20, 50%, in some cases 100. I bought a dozen eggs the other day, $4 a dozen. 2 weeks ago, folks, a dozen eggs was $3.65. 2 years ago, eggs, $2.25. They practically doubled where I'm at. And there's fucking chickens everywhere. Anyways, let us move on if we shall. We're running out of time. The last 5 minutes, and I know we got some more comments, statements, questions, thoughts, and let's get to it. It's Eli in the Wolverine State. He says, over a year is a felon. So getting felony charges for parading without permit. Didn't know parading without a permit was a felony charge. Well, see, this is how they play their games, right? Well, you're not really in jail. Well, you're being held until trial. But in normal criminal cases, the judge will say, well, we're going to sentence you for 90 days, but it took us 120 days to get there. So, you're being found guilty of your crime, but we're releasing you because of time served. Parading is not a felony. At the very worst, I can see a fine. I mean, okay, parading and stopping a business or government functions, okay, give them 30 days or 60 days. But yeah, holding them in prison for almost 2 years now. Yeah. Unfreaking believable. It's unconscionable. It is absolutely disgusting what these ding-dongs are doing. And I mean absolutely. Let's do this. Let's get to one more question we have. Who's your life? Who's your daddy? Thanks, Who's your life? He says, I will be celebrating mine. That would be Thanksgiving with my son's Italian friend and family, my daughter's Polish boyfriend, my Native American, Scandinavian, German, and Irish grandkids, kids, and wife, and others. God bless all. Who's your life? That's really a great message. Thank you so much for sharing what you're doing. And Bonnie Blue checks in and says, and y'all have a happy Thanksgiving. Just checking in. Dear processing continues. Bing, bing. Yeah, what did they eat back in that first Thanksgiving when it was inclusive for all genders, all ages, and all nationalities, all races? They had meat. They did not have soybeans. No, sirree, they did not have soybeans. They did not eat bugs at the first Thanksgiving. They went out and shot turkeys. They went out and hunted deer. I don't think America was heavily populated with hog, i.e. ham. But maybe they had the very first Thanksgiving a honey-baked ham that was cut with a swirly swirl knife, right? I sure hope it was a spiral-sliced honey-baked ham they had. I'm sure the Native Americans went, whoa, this pork stuff is pretty damn good. I sure hope so. You know, I'm sure that a lot of stuff came up. Thank you, Jolene. Folks, what do you have to say? What can any of us say about what's going on? Unbelievable. I want to thank Fuzzy. I want to thank Mr. Skylight and everyone else. I want to thank Bonnie Blue. I want to thank everybody, Cottage Farm, everybody for helping support this channel. And I wanted again to give a good story here. The U.S. men's soccer team, unlike the women's soccer team, the little rainbow totem fruitcakes, the men's soccer team stood up for the national anthem. They didn't take a knee. They didn't turn their back. They didn't leave the field. They stood up for the national anthem, the United States of America. And the woke LGBTQ flags and pins and crests and patches were nowhere to be seen. Imagine that. People who are happy to be playing a sport, and the American people get to see that they care about America, not some agenda and not some fruitcake notion, but truly the U.S. men's soccer team is there for the people of the United States of America, not for a bunch of tiny, infinitesimally small, inconsequential, stupid, but overly loud, squeaking, and cantankerous tards. The LGBTQ crowd, Democrat crowd, the NAACP crowd, and their stupid shit. I mean, are we allowed to say colored people? Are we? Colored people. Remember when that used to be a term, and I guess it was at some point determined to be pejorative to refer to blacks as colored people. We're all colored, but that was a term that was used. And this organization called the NAACP, right, came out. Right, something, colored people. It's funny how they themselves, right, end up turning on themselves. Their own words to describe themselves become dirty and bad. The left attacks and eats itself as well as us, folks. Stand by. Expect more. Next time I see you, it's going to be, folks, 0 dark 30. It's coming. It's truly coming, folks. But for now, we get ready. For now, we prepare. For now, we train. Right? We do. but we know what's coming down the road. For now, let's start thinking about Thanksgiving and what we give thanks for, and to who we give thanks, and for what we give thanks, and where we give thanks. Right? I think it's important to do. Just like it's important for us as Americans and even the world to celebrate Independence Day and our Declaration of Independence. As important as it is to celebrate Christmas, even though some of us are Jews or Muslims or Buddhists or Sikh, right? Christmas, it's a season. Oh yeah, don't forget people who celebrate the Nordic version of Christmas. That's where the Yule log and the Christmas tree and Santa Claus come from. You know, all those old Northern fables that got blended with Christianity to make Christianity palatable to a people who weren't really happy about having their entire culture destroyed. Anyways, folks, that's story for another day. For now, Semper Fi, Godspeed, and chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? Not dead yet.